Welcome to Fighting Stats, the ultimate channel for MMA fans who love statistics and betting breakdowns. I'm your host, Art C, and I'm here to get you ready for the upcoming UFC fights. In this series, I'll be watching tape and providing my real time analysis on how I think the fights are going to go. I'll be watching for fighters' strengths, weaknesses, tendencies, and overall strategies, pairing that with Fighting Stats' exclusive UFC stats not available anywhere else to give you a prediction on how I think the fights are going to go and ultimately who's going to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Fighting Stats. Welcome back to Fighting Stats. I'm your host, Art C, and today we are breaking down the UFC 297 fight between Charles Jourdain and Sean the Sniper Woodson. We have finished the Woodson fight tape. We have finished the Charles Jourdain fight tape. We have that fresh in our mind, so we're going to break it down right now. What we're first going to do is we're going to go deep into the fighting stats. We're going to break down the numbers, see what the numbers say. Then I'm going to give you my prediction on how I think the fight's going to go. And then we're going to end off with our analysis in terms of where we think the props might open up based on our numbers, get you where the best bets and the best value is. So let's get it started here. Charles Jourdain is going to be on the blue side in the blue fighter. Sean Woodson here on the right side under the red fighter. Charles Jourdain, 6-5-1 in the UFC. 33% of his wins by KO, 33% of his wins by submission, and 33% of his wins by decision. Very well rounded there. Never been knocked out. 20% of his losses by submission, and 60% of his losses by decision. Has a no contest in there as well. A draw. On the Woodson side, 4-1 in the UFC, 4-1-1. Both guys have a draw. 25% of his wins by KO, 75% of his wins by decision, 100% of his losses coming by submission there. So let's get into the striking here. Detailed striking, Charles Jourdain offensively. So offensively, 73% of his strikes landed are at a distance, 18% in the clinch, and 8% on the ground. Mixes it up a little bit there. In terms of target breakdown, 71% of his strikes target is towards the head, 19% towards the body, and 10% towards the leg. Again, mixes up pretty well there. Striking accuracy towards the head, 39%. Striking accuracy to the body, 70%. And 86% to the legs there. Average strikes thrown by round, it does look like he picks up as the fight goes on. 33 thrown in round 1. 59 in round 2, and 71 strikes landed or thrown in round 3 there. Same thing with the head strikes. They tend to go up, and same with the body ones as well. So that's worth noting there. Over his UFC career, his long UFC career, Charles Jourdain has 6 knockdowns, significant strike accuracy overall at 49%. Not bad there. Again, 8% ground. We talked about that. So not the biggest of leg kickers. Let's see here. Ricardo Ramos, 1 of 1 against Kron Gracie. Not going to throw a ton of leg kicks against a BJJ guy. Nathaniel Wood, not a ton of leg kicks either. Only was it the Andre Ewell fight that he threw a ton of leg kicks, and then in the Erosa fight as well, and the Marco Rojo fight. So hasn't thrown a ton of leg kicks since December of 2021. Let's see if that changes going forward. All right. Charles Jourdain defensive striking. So 84% of his strikes landed against have been at a distance, 12% in the clinch, and 4% on the ground. Target against, so when people target him, 77 of the strikes he's eaten have been to the head, 14% to the body, and 9% towards the leg. Defensive striking accuracy, not bad at 31% to the head, 66% to the body, and 92% to the legs. Strikes absorbed by round, similar to his output, but 41 in round 1, 58 in round 2, and then it drops off a little bit in round 3 there. Looks like he's more of an output guy on round 3. Striking against in his long UFC career, Charles Jourdain only knocked down twice. And then I wanted to see some of the body work. The body work has me interested here. Hasn't eaten a ton of body shots against Julian Erosa. Erosa went to the body a lot, actually. And then Andre Ewell actually went to the body as well. Shane Burgos, big leg kicker. in round 3. Ended up landing a bunch of leg kicks there as well. So that's worth noting here. Sean Woodson, he's going to be one of the longest, rangiest guys in the division. So let's take a look at his offensive striking. As noted, for somebody that's so long, so tall, 93% of his strikes are at a distance, 7% in the clinch, and then you can't even see the red there. Rarely goes to the ground, rarely throws any strikes there on the ground. Less than 1% ground strikes. Target-wise, he does go to the head 82% of the time, 11% to the body, and he does work in some leg kicks at 7% of the time. Striking accuracy, not bad. 40% head strike accuracy, 67% body strike accuracy, and 88% leg strike accuracy. His output is crazy. We have average strikes thrown by round, 66 in round 1, 56 in round 2, and 57 in round 3. Looks like he puts out volume at a high pace no matter what the round is. Over his UFC career, knocked down twice. Overall, 46% significant strike accuracy. Again, we talked about the distance strikes. Hasn't thrown a ton of ground strikes. Really, 3 ground strikes landed in his UFC career. 2 against Bazookia we just watched, and 1 against Erosa. Leg kicks, big leg kicker here against Erosa. Went 15 for 15 in leg kicks. Otherwise, Saldana didn't throw much. The Anglin fight threw 10 of 11, so he does mix in those leg kicks. Both fighters can actually switch stance a lot, so worth keeping an eye on that. Red defensive striking. So Woodson here, defensive striking. 86% of his strikes against have been at a distance, 12% in the clinch, and 2% on the ground. In terms of his target breakdown, guys mix it up against him. 69 going to the head, 16 to the body, and 15 towards the legs. Defensive striking accuracy, 32% to the head, 57 towards the body, and 75% towards the legs. Average strikes absorbed by rounds, really just hovering around 50 strikes per round absorbed, 49, 48, and 49 as well. Head strikes seems to pop up there a little bit as well. So defensively over his UFC career has been knocked down twice in the Saldana fight. So that's the only time he was knocked down. That one was a weird fight. Saldana gave the fight away. He let Woodson back up and then ended up in a draw. Has eaten a bunch of leg kicks against Saldana as well. Looking at the body kicks there. So different mixing up there. Again, only twice been knocked down. Let's go over to the detailed grappling. I'm wondering here if this fight, this matchup will see the ground at all. I didn't see Woodson really shoot for many takedowns, so let's see what the numbers say. Average takedown attempts by round for Charles Jourdain, 0.1 in round 1, 0.3 in round 2, and 0.2 attempts in round 3. Average is 0 in round 1, 0.1 in round 2, and 0.0 in round 3. Needless to say, this doesn't look like it's going down to the ground. Let's see. The last time Charles Jourdain attempted a takedown, he went 1 for 1 against Nathaniel Wood. Time before that, he got a takedown. Oh, just once. He's only gotten 1 takedown in his UFC career. 6 takedowns attempted. Control time, decent control there against... Oh, that Kron Gracie racked up some control time. But that was just Kron pulling guard and Jourdain on top, elbows in. Really didn't want to get submitted there, so racked up some control time in that fight. Otherwise, yeah, he doesn't look like he wants to go down to the ground at all. Defensive grappling, let's see if his takedown defense is any good. 1.6 takedown attempts against, 0.8 landed, 0.6 in round 2, 0.3 in round 3, and then 2.1 attempts and 1.2 attempts. Defensively for Jourdain, 44 takedown attempts against, 23 have been successful, so a little bit better than 50% there. Has had 5 sub attempts again, 1 reversal. So defensively grappling for Jourdain, not a big deal because we're looking at the Woodson offensive grappling, similar numbers where he's only attempted 5 takedowns over his UFC career, and 4 of them have been successful. All of them have come from the Dennis Bazookia fight. So that one was weird. We started the fight tape around the Erosa in 2020. Fought Yusuf Zalal, Colin Anglin, Luis Saldana. Didn't attempt any takedowns. And then all of a sudden, he shoots 5 takedowns against Dennis Bazookia. Gets 4 of them. So great takedown accuracy on paper. But historically, he's never really shot for a takedown. I don't know if that's something new or if it was specific to that matchup. But I'm going to predict that the fight probably stays standing. Bazookia not really looking for takedowns, and Jourdain not really looking for takedowns. I wanted to see these numbers. The takedown defense of Sean Woodson on tape, pretty elite. He's seen 47 takedown attempts against. 7 of them have been successful. Really, Saldana was able to get him down once. Zusuf Alal able to get him once in round 1 or once in round 2, but I think he popped up from there. Haven't seen anybody really control him much on the ground. So again, this looks like to be a stand-up affair. Let's go into the fighting times here. So Charles Jourdain, 52% of his fight time is standing there, 15% in the clinch, and 33% is on the ground there. So looking like most of that fight, that ground time coming from the Ricardo Ramos fight, and some of the fight was on the Kron Gracie time as well. When he's on bottom, most of the time was in full guard. When he's on top, we're not going to go into grappling. I just don't think that there's much grappling. On the Woodson side, 66% of his time is standing there. 16% of the time is in the clinch, and 18% is on the ground. Again, that's coming from the Bazookia fight. Let's go into the striking tendencies, because then I don't think it hits the ground, so we're going to go into striking tendencies. Charles Jourdain here on the left side, he does like the jab. 12% of the time he's throwing the jab, 6% of the time he's throwing the straight two. He does look like at that rear low kick. He's throwing 6% of the time, and 5% of the time he's looking for that check left hook. 14% of the time he has kicks. A lot of the time he has single strikes, there 85% there. On the Sean Woodson side, he's very long and rangy, so obviously 15% of his strikes are going to be the jab, 10% of them is going to be the straight two, 9% of them is the 1-2, and 7% is that rear leg kick. Now, both of these guys can switch stances, so this is how I see the fight playing out. Again, Sean Woodson, he is different than anything that anybody's really seen before. Just the size and the frame on him, really something to deal with. In this fight, I think Sean Woodson's going to have about a 9-inch reach advantage, 5 or 6, 7 inches of height advantage. So a big advantage here. So what I was curious to see Charles Jourdain, what his record is against longer fighters. You know what it is? It's every single fight in the UFC. He's never fought anybody with a shorter reach than him, which I found was amusing. So Charles Jourdain has always had to deal with longer fighters. That's not new. Sean Woodson's never fought anybody with a longer reach than him, because again, he just has these like long arms, long strikes there. So how I see the fight going on is this: both guys have the ability and switch from orthodox to southpaw. They almost switch regularly. It's impossible to determine which side they're going to go to. They both switch a lot. We did see some Charles Jourdain sort of mirror his opponent. He can kick with both legs. He can go low. He can go high. So sometimes you'll see him go when his opponent goes southpaw. He wants to go southpaw because he likes the outside low kick there. If he goes orthodox and then southpaw, then he might be looking for the body kick. But he has the ability to mix it up. The only thing is Sean Woodson also has the same ability. He does the same thing. He moves in and out from stances. Very nice straight left from southpaw, and then he steps into orthodox where he lands another 1-2. Beautiful combo there. I've seen both guys go to the body a lot. Both guys mixing in the kicks a lot. On paper, I think it's pretty even. Now, the X factor for me is what I noticed on tape was Charles Jourdain. When he's coming forward, very nice boxing, hands up high, and he keeps his high guard here. And so if we go back to, can't remember what fight it was, but he has he stands in the pocket there, very in close, keeps the high guard up, right? And so what his opponent was doing, he was going for the outside trip a lot. And so Jourdain, what he's lost in his fights have been, he's spent some time on the ground being controlled. He does get tripped from the outside trip because, again, he has that high guard. He leaves his feet open for the takedown. He's not really looking for the underhooks. He's not going to need to look for the underhooks against Woodson. I just bring it up because the high guard there, it does open up the body. And so if Jourdain's going to sit in the pocket with a 9-inch reach disadvantage, Woodson is going to blast that body with hooks. He throws the straights on the inside. As you're circling out on the outside, he'll reach for the hook on the outside to hit you when you circle. He'll throw these leg kicks or kicks from a distance. So this is a puzzle. It's going to be hard for Jourdain. You know what? Woodson's going to stand at range. This is going to be the bigger cage, right? So it's going to be the main event. Not the main event, but the big cage main event other than the Apex. Woodson's going to stand on the outside. He's going to pop these kicks in kicking range. And Sean Woodson's kicking range, it's nowhere near Charles Jourdain's kicking range. So Charles Jourdain, for him to land a kick, he's going to be in Woodson's striking range. So you can get countered when Jourdain throws a kick because Woodson's now able to, because it's such a 9-inch reach advantage, when Jourdain's throwing some kicks, Woodson's going to be able to counter him there. When he comes into the pocket, puts the high guard in, I think Woodson can go to the body. I think Jourdain is pretty durable. We have seen Woodson get dropped and rocked by Saldana, so it's possible. Saldana was having some success there. So I think Jourdain can sort of replicate that. But noting that the fight doesn't go down to the ground, it's going to be Jourdain having to deal with the range and figuring out a way on the inside. Jourdain, not really. He's very technical, very fast hands. I just don't know if he has the range and the technical ability to close the distance. Again, he likes to stand in the pocket, throw in the pocket with your opponent's not moving, great. But if your opponent's circling on the outside, staying in range, can Charles Jourdain really walk him down, cut him off, land some big shots? Woodson's pretty good defensively as well. They talked about Sean Woodson's amateur boxing career. He started boxing when he was 8 years old, 53-3 boxing record or something like that, or amateur fight record. Sean Woodson's hands are very good as well. So I'm not saying Charles Jourdain is levels above Woodson. I think they're pretty fair. Like both hands look good. Both guys look good. Cardio looks good. The only knock is, I did see Woodson got knocked down and he got rocked by Saldana. So that's an X factor. Maybe Jourdain can sort of put him away, but I expect a chess match. I see it going back and forth. I see it probably pretty even. So let's go into the numbers, see exactly where we land on the numbers. That's what I like to do. We bring up my handy dandy bankroll tracker. What I like to do is I go through all of the options, figure out a percentage on where those options should land. It should tell me where the money line lands, where the value plays land, and then we'll go through that. So starting with the Charles Jourdain side to win by TKO. Again, we talked about Sean Woodson getting knocked down there twice in Saldana fight. If Saldana, has any fight IQ and follows up, he probably finishes Woodson. So it's not out of the question. Jourdain does throw some heat, does throw some power. I'm going to say about 15%. Let's go 15% to start. Woodson pretty durable. Yeah. Charles Jourdain to win by submission. We saw that his breakdown, like he's well rounded. All of his wins by submission, by TKO, by decision, all equal. So win by submission, it's definitely possible here. Just I don't know if Jourdain engages in the grappling. Right? We talked about his takedown attempts. He doesn't really shoot takedowns. Woodson, other than his last fight, hasn't really shot down many takedowns as well. Jourdain's a black belt in BJJ, so the sub is live. But I think Woodson does a good job of defending the takedowns. Woodson has these long arms to throw in his own chokes there. I'm not going to rate it too high just because, again, I don't think it goes down to the ground. I'm leaving it at 10%. Now, I know Charles Jourdain does have subs in him. He can sub him. It's just I'm putting it lower because I don't think it happens in this fight. The times that Jourdain grapples is that his opponents are trying to grapple with him, so he goes up and he defensively grapples. But I don't think the opportunities will be there in this fight. Okay. Charles Jourdain to win by decision. I think that's his most likely outcome. Very good on the feet. Good striker again. 25% sounds about right. Let's see here. 25 to 30% maybe. We'll leave that 25% for now, and then we'll go from there. We'll go over to the Sean Woodson fight side. Sean Woodson to win by TKO. He doesn't throw a ton of power, but he throws a lot of volume. And Jourdain seems to be able to take a punch pretty well. If I'm giving 15% to Jourdain, it's either 15 or 10% for the Woodson side. I'm going to go 15% as well. I think Woodson working the body is likely. We've seen Woodson win by body shots as well. Sean Woodson to win by submission, I don't think it's likely. I'm going to put 5%. I think if it does come, it's more for the choke. You can see guys, when they attack the takedown on Woodson, Woodson does go for the choke. He has the long arms, so why wouldn't you? Sets up Dars pretty easier. Triangles and arm bars from the bottom, easier as well, but we haven't seen Woodson extended time on the ground there. So we're going to leave it at 5%. It sounds right to me. And then win by decision, again, I think it's going to be pretty close. If you give 25% to Jourdain, you probably give 25% to Woodson as well. So now we're short 5%. Where to put, so I'm short 5% and I don't know where to put it. Jourdain TKO. I'm leaning either Jourdain TKO to get it up to 20% or Jourdain decision. But I honestly think that their equity to win decision is probably pretty equal. I don't really favor one side over the other side too much more. I think Woodson, if anything, has more chances of winning decision because he has the tools, he has the attributes of getting there. Charles Jourdain has to figure out the chess puzzle to get it there. Where to give the 5%, 10% there? No, no, no. Win by KO? Nope. Okay, we'll do 30%. I don't feel great about it. We'll leave it there for now. Okay. For the record, not too convinced, but we'll leave it there for that side. I think we're okay with it. So to recap, Charles Jourdain to win by TKO 15% plus 567, win by submission at 10% or plus 900 or better, and win by decision 30% for a total money line of 55% or minus 122. Okay. Sean Woodson to win by TKO 15%. 567. Sean Woodson to win by submission plus 5% plus 1900, and Sean Woodson to win by decision 25% or plus 300 as well. So a total money line of 45% on the Sean Woodson side plus 122 overall. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's either 50-50, 55-45. It's not much more than that. Honestly, these guys match up pretty well. They're pretty good on paper, pretty good strikers there. I don't see Charles Jourdain having a huge edge in the striking. Sean Woodson's going to want to strike too, so this looks like a 3-round striking affair. Going to probably be a lot of volume. Sean Woodson has this tendency to like fight in close fights. Charles Jourdain as well. You know, the crowd's probably into it. It's probably going to be a very good fight, to be honest. Both guys can take some damage. Guys are throwing some high volume, mixing it up, landing, but not a ton of power on them. So I can see it being very entertaining fight here. So fight to go to decision at 55%, minus 122. Not to go to decision, 45%, plus 122. That to me sounds off. If I saw a goes to decision line there at minus 122, I'd probably play it. If I'm being honest, these guys tend to go to decision. They're pretty durable. I don't see why anything should change here. So if I did have to take anything away, see, they're both at 15% for TKO, and I feel that it's right. Like going down to 10% doesn't seem right. 1 in 10 fights, if they fought 1 in 10, would they win one each? By TKO, probably a little bit more than that, just based on the volumes, based on the striking. So I got to leave it up there. And then the submission by Jourdain. Maybe if I take away a Jourdain sub here and I bring it to decision here, you get 60% minus 150 to go decision, maybe a little bit better. So, but I do think Charles Jourdain, his sub equity has to be a little bit higher than the Sean Woodson fight. So I'm going to set it back to what it is, 55-45. That's where I see the numbers. Let's see where we can get the actual odds here. Where are the odds right now? FightOdds.io is where I go. The odds are up here. Let's go down to the bottom. Charles Jourdain, minus 173. So as you see, Charles Jourdain opened up a minus 135, got bet down right away, down to minus 200. And they spiked back up. And then it looks like it settled here on minus 175, 180, dropped down to 185. I got a little bit of buyback at 184 and has recently popped up to 173. So looking like some money is coming in on the Woodson side. 148 on the Woodson side, 173 minus 173, and I said 148 on the Woodson side. 1 unit. Okay. Just double checking. 148. Yeah. Okay. So what I do is I have this 8th Kelly criterion calculator. Kelly criterion is a mathematical formula that helps me determine how much of a bankroll to put on to the fight based on our capping of the fight. So again, we thought that the Sean Woodson money line should be about plus 122. Current odds of plus 148. Kelly criterion tells us to put 1% of our bankroll or 1 unit on that side. I am not against it. Again, I think it's a 50-50 fight. You're getting plus 150 odds on that. Imagine taking a coin flip, flipping heads or tails, and getting plus 150 on heads. You're probably going to bet it. If you don't win it, okay, but I think it's probably close to 50-50 matchup. That's where I side on it. Let me know if I'm missing anything, something that I'm not seeing. But on paper, I think it's pretty close. I think the reach and the height advantage is going to be big for Woodson. And Jourdain doesn't have the grappling to make it competitive by using it that way. So Jourdain's going to really have to get on the inside. I can see him getting a little bit frustrated. He does work some body, so I can see both guys working some body, ending up some body shots, liver shots as well, outside leg kicks as well. So both guys have a lot of tools to work with. I see it's pretty close. So that's my breakdown. We're going to add it there. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/FightingStats. If I do go out and play it for a unit, the Sean Woodson side, then I'll let you know there. First, I got to get these videos out and running. But again, my name is Artsy. This is Fighting Stats. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you like these stats, you like the breakdown, comment below. Let me know what we're doing good, what we can improve on below. Thank you for your time for watching. Again, my name is Artsy. This is Fighting Stats. Have a good day. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this sort of content, make sure you smash the like button. Hit the subscribe. You'll get notified anytime we put out new content. And remember, here at Fighting Stats, I lead a team of expert data scientists. We are working around the clock to produce these exclusive UFC stats, not available anywhere else. We do our tape study. We pair them with our stats. We put out our best bets. We put our best bets to patreon.com/FightingStats. That's where we put all our analysis, all of our stats. Join patreon.com/FightingStats to get exclusive access. Recently, we just hit $82,000. Yes, that's right. $82,000 parlay on one fight. We used our Fighting Stats to get there, and we won a massive payday. Our Patreon members had exclusive access to that, so they shared in the profits there. So don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe today. Again, my name is Art C. This is Fighting Stats. Thanks for watching.